Hi there, good evening. You're watching Spotlight. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. The classic North versus South debate continues to resurface as linguistic wars gain momentum. The latest video of the stand-up comedian Aravind, which has gone viral, highlights the divide and is even symptomatic of it. As a diverse nation, India, of course, celebrates its heterogeneity, but at the same time, there are voices of concern regarding the supposed hegemony of Hindi. The recent instances of the DMK raising concerns over national highways having Hindi notings and citizens' concerns in Bengaluru over signage in Hindi in their metro seems to reflect a larger opinion. We at Spotlight debate the linguistic flashpoints that have over the years been more pronounced. In fact, since language is one of the strongest signposts of identity and a highly emotive issue, but politicians continue to play politics over it, making language a political hot potato. We at Spotlight tonight debate whether language is actually a unifying factor or does it really divide the 1.3 billion Indians. Our phone lines are open on your screen. You can see the number. Call us, tell us what do you think about this particular issue. And before that, and as we await our callers, let's get in the voices that matter on this show.
Chennai, there is this theory that Chennaites are people who don't know Hindi, right? That's not true. That's not at all true. Chennaites are people who know Hindi and still refuse to speak Hindi. You know why we do that? You know why we do that? Because we like to irritate the North Indians like Deepika, Vasisht and all like this. You know why we like to irritate you people? Because you people did a call tribute to us called Chennai Express and Lungi Dance. One such song, which was this Lungi Dance, which became such a big hit and in up north, and it almost became like the South Indian anthem that we never asked for. At some level, I felt, hey, since I got into a stand-up comedian, the main job of a comedian is to show a mirror to the rest of the world. So I thought, hey, you guys should probably see how we view it back here. It's not our anthem. In fact, we are indifferent towards it. And I thought I have enough reasons to articulate and explain why we are indifferent. That's pretty much it. Honestly, I find it very amusing that there's a controversy behind it. That's pretty much a comment made to irritate them. And in fact, I even go on to say, you know why we do that? We like to irritate you people. And that's, again, in the context of a show that makes absolute sense. What I said on stage makes sense within the four walls of the 1,200 people who saw it then. But once you put it on a YouTube video and once you put it on the internet, the context is very important because I'm being completely sarcastic in the whole time. If you remove the sarcasm out of it, it obviously looks like I'm inciting hate and I'm dividing India and suddenly Republic of South India is an idea again. But no, that's not the point. The point is to trivialize the whole situation.
I think this whole, the whole imposition of Hindi onto South Indian states is unnecessary because I think, we have our own languages here, they have their own languages there. It's about respecting one another and saying, hey, this works for you, you pick it up. If it doesn't, it's cool,
The basic premise of this video is all about attacking the stereotypes, the very stereotypes that some of the North Indians love to believe in. So if we were to go by that, there is a very strong case for that because the timing of it is impeccable if you look at it. This is right after a union minister who goes on national television and says Hindi is the national language. These are kind of, these notions are being shattered with this video. And whenever any notion is challenged or when you speak truth to power, you tend to have certain polarized opinions.
All right, we've got two of those comedians on the show. In fact, Aravind and Rajiv Rajaram, both of them are joining us on this broadcast. Good evening, gentlemen. We are, of course, asking the question on Spotlight that is India losing its funny bone? Aravind, you for one really got trolled on social media after that video. As we await our callers, our calling lines are, of course, open. The number is flashing at the bottom of your screen. As we await our callers, Aravind, let me take the first question to you. Were you taken aback by the comments that came in and the kind of sentiment it really reflected?
No, absolutely not. Like I said already in the interview before, I think the job of a comedian is to show a mirror to the society, and I think what we are seeing right now is pretty much a mirror of what is actually existing around us. So I'd be living in cloud cuckoo land if I thought this wasn't going to happen when I put a video that is pretty emotional in its views and.
So you knew what you were doing. So you knew what you were doing. You were prepared for the kind of backlash that happened.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube comment section is something I don't pay much attention to anyway. So this is something I think anybody who puts stuff on YouTube prepares themselves for. That's basic hygiene of anything that you do on social media, is to not read the comment section, because that's something that's out of your hands. People are entitled to fight or articulate or even give a TEDx talk in the YouTube comment section. It's as trivial as anything can get. So that's not really something I think an artist should pay much attention to. The serious feedback is what you would receive outside of that, not the comment section.
Okay. Rajiv, let me bring you in on this discussion. Yes, there is a lighter side to this entire debate that, or this entire issue that Aravind was looking to raise. But at the end of the day, do you think this north-south divide, this Hindi versus Tamil or Hindi versus regional languages, this is a debate that sort of gets reignited and as of now is something that is a cause of concern for some?
I would say the cause of concern at this point of time has to do with the basic issue of imposition of Hindi. So categorically we can always say there are a lot of people down south. I can take the case of Tamil Nadu, where a lot of Tamils are saying that we are not against the language of Hindi, because that would be really stupid. We're against the imposition of Hindi. And we've seen that over the past few months, like a union minister going on national television and saying that Hindi is the national language when clearly it's not. Or a former Rajya Sabha MP basically saying, making comments like, we are friends with Tamilians even though they might be black or something. Now, the notion that all of us are trying to fight or trying to break through is the fact that we take pride in the fact that we are a country which,
you're looking to break stereotypes.
Diversity and unity.
I understand you're looking to break stereotypes. We have our first caller, Gaurav, joining us from Bangalore. Go ahead, Gaurav, make your point, and then of course we can bring both Aravind and Rajiv into the broadcast. Gaurav, make your point.
Yeah, ma'am. I just wanted to know why there is so much of fuss about the language in India. If I am speaking in Hindi and you understand Hindi, it's fine. I mean, why we want to create a controversy?
Okay, very, very apt point. Rajiv, you said that, Tamilians or people from the south are not averse to Hindi. They understand Hindi. They're not averse to the language, but it's the imposition, quote unquote, that people are upset about. But what Gaurav is really saying is, what's the big deal about it? If two people understand the language and they want to communicate in it, what's the problem? So what if two people communicate in Hindi down south?
Absolutely no problem with two people communicating in Hindi, but what if the other person doesn't speak Hindi? Now, the problem is when you're saying that why is it that you don't speak Hindi, then there's never a point where the question says, why is it that you don't speak Tamil, When you're talking about it, the kind of defenses that we always get to hear is, Hindi is the most spoken language. And that is not something that is, you're not taking account into the diversity factor. And at some point of level, it looks like Hindi should be kept at a pedestal and other languages are not equal to it, which is something that we want to, obviously we want to contest that, because it goes against the very grain of what this country is all about.
Okay, we celebrate our diversity, we celebrate our diversity, we celebrate our languages, we should celebrate in the heterogeneity that represents all of us. Rupa Mehta from Chennai joining us on this broadcast. Rupa, make your point.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to clarify that I am a Gujarati born and brought up in Chennai. And I love my South Indian language and I love everything that Tamil Nadu has to give. But what I mean is, when you can learn languages like French and German and Chinese, what's the harm in learning an Indian language? I would like the North Indians to learn one South Indian language and South Indians to learn one North Indian language. That is how our diversity and the country's language culture also will be preserved.
Okay. Aravind, let me take this across to you. Just like you learn foreign languages, what's the harm in learning Hindi?
So I don't think there's any harm in learning anything in life. It's good. We can learn as much as we want and as many things as we want.
No, but then there is a certain resistance. There is a certain resistance that we are talking about here.
To learn because we can't. The resistance comes when the resistance comes when our freedom to choose is deprived. So I think again, if we lose the point here, which is when the choice is taken, then of course there will be resistance. Like I went to an ATM in Chennai, where in the heart of the Chennai, I saw an ATM and the ATM only had Hindi in it. There was no English or Tamil option. Now, when you put yourself in a situation like that in Chennai, and when you start seeing organizations take it for granted that Hindi is fine and an ATM machine can just communicate in Hindi, I think that's pretty scary. That's just probably a microcosm of the overall situation, but I think that's something that should be spoken about. There is no reason for an Hindi to be the sole option out here, and this is what gets people worried. If people want to learn Hindi on their own, they will. You don't need to impose it on them. We can do it. We love languages. We'll do it as much as we want.
Okay, before I take the next caller, Murthy joining from Chennai, let me just make one quick point here that the government has just taken, the central government has just taken a decision that all train tickets starting January 2018 will also have the local language printed on it besides Hindi and English. So the central government, which is becoming a punching bag as far as hegemony of Hindi is concerned, did take this step. Now let me go across to Murthy from Chennai. Murthy, sir, please go ahead, make your point.
I was in my school days, I was studying Hindi. Later on that Hindi agitation came and I was forced to study Tamil. So I did Tamil because I am in Tamil Nadu. I have to study Tamil as my language also, so that it will be helpful to move around freely in Tamil Nadu. There is nothing wrong in it. But now if you see after 30 years or 40 years, you go anywhere in Chennai, whether it is a parlor, whether it is a restaurant, whether it is a cinema hall, you have all the people who knows Hindi only. You can just check it up in Chennai. I have gone almost to every place in Chennai. You can only converse in Hindi with main people. Many of them do not know Tamil. What action they are taking? There is nothing wrong in knowing Hindi. It is better to learn Hindi. Other than Tamil Nadu, where you can survive in Tamil, tell me.
Where else can you survive? Okay, a valid point. Rajiv, comment on this, that, is there a paradox that we're talking about, that over the years, as more people learn Hindi, we have politicians and netas trying to make it sort of a linguistic wars at the same time. Is there a paradox in the making here?
I don't see any paradox, but I don't see any paradox also in speaking in English. So what's wrong if I speak in English? Because if I want to survive anywhere outside of Tamil Nadu, I'm going to speak in English. And whenever it is, if it requires for me to learn a language, I'll definitely learn a language. Now the question that we are addressing over here is that why this imposition? You can't force a language down our throats. That's my thing. We can always get into the thing saying that, yeah, there are people who are coming from other states to Tamil Nadu. And I'm saying that maybe there can be a thing saying that, would you like to learn Tamil? I'm just asking a question. But the thing is that whenever, if any language, let it be any language, we need to have the choice. We need to make the choice, and imposition of a language is never going to work.
Okay. Let's go across to Jay Kumar, who's also joining in with his views. Sir, go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, good evening all there. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, the thing is, I do support Mr. Aravind to making those comments or whatever it is and so on. But one thing is that Hindi is not the only national language. Okay, for all information. So there are other languages also which is considered as the national language, and Tamil is the only Indian language which is considered as a classical language. Okay, when you are all bothered about that imposing Hindi on Tamil Nadu, you are telling that it is not being imposed and so on. But whereas it is in the in the papers or whatever, the railway stations or in the boards and everything, or in the recent NEET examination and everything. So that is called indirectly imposing. Not that you are forcing us to sit and to read and each and everything. So one of the ministers was commenting that when a North Indian people, when it comes to Tamil Nadu, all the milestones has to be changed to, it has been changed to Hindi. Then what about a Tamilian going to North? Since because 10 people...
No, sir. Let's not become so parochial as a nation. Let's not become so parochial as a people. Here we are talking about our diversity. Here we are celebrating our heterogeneity. We cannot be talking in terms of, if one person moves from one state to another, why should he learn his language? Why should, he adopt his culture? Let's not go down that road. In fact, just before you, we had the caller, Rupa Mehta, who said she's a Gujarati, born and brought up in Chennai. She embraces Tamil culture, but at the same time, she has also learned other languages as well. So let's not be so parochial, sir, and become so myopic in our perspective. Let's go across to our next caller as well, Mr. Ram, who's also joining us on the show. Sir, go ahead, make your point. Kalyan is joining us on this broadcast. Go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Kalyan, go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, my name is Kalyana Sundaram. I'm a pure Tamilian in that sense. Actually, I was born in Madurai. But let me tell you, I think why there is so much of politics around this. My view is simple. I've lived in Dubai for about 4 or 5 years. But let's look at it from a utility point of view. Today, I can't survive when I go outside of Tamil Nadu without speaking Hindi into the other parts of the state, India. And when I go to Middle East, I can bet for sure without Hindi, I would not be able to manage actually. So now look at the utility value, and you don't have to impose this on people, but it's for the people to understand the utility value and get used to it. There's no need of politics around this.
Okay.
I'm really surprised about it.
Absolutely. Let me also bring in Mr. Ram Subramaniam, founder of Voice of Ram, who's joining us on this show. Let me bring this question to you, Ram. What he's saying, the caller, is a very valid point, Kalyan. What he's saying is that there is a lot of politics, identity politics, that's largely played around language. It is an identity, but it's just gone too far when netas take over.
I completely agree. I studied in a Hindi medium school, and I'm a South Indian. I speak most of South Indian languages. There is a line which I would like to quote from a song. It says, "Anekta mein ekta, Hind ki visheshta." What is happening right now is, you've said something about let's not be parochial. The thing is, India is all about many little parochial places coming together to form this nation. And we need to respect that. We need to respect individual cultures. We need to respect individual languages. So what you're trying to do is remove this anekta bit and just make it vanilla ekta, which doesn't work for anyone. You cannot impose a language on any state. You have to preserve the culture and language. Language is the spine of a culture. And if you try to impose another language saying we will make this a whitewashed United States of Uttar Pradesh, that's not going to work. It's just going to create a
I think, Ram, you're going,
which you'll have to deal with.
You're going 2 steps forward. I don't think the government has gone that far to actually impose Hindi all across. But I get the sentiment that you're saying. Language is a reflection of a culture, it is a reflection of a people, which is why it is so close to everybody's heart, and which is why, of course, it's also political hot potato. We've got 2 more callers. Let's first get in Anil from Gwalior on this show. Anil, go ahead, make your point.
Yeah. I think in South India, especially Tamil Nadu, people are too sensitive. If central government department does any work, it is constitutionally bound to write in the signboard local language Tamil, Hindi and English. So whenever a signboard or any sign that is the institution of the central government is shown, these people call, it is being imposed. Hindi can't be imposed by writing a name of the department or any institution, along with Hindi, English and that. Secondly, this trolling part of it. Trolling doesn't exist in Indian Penal Code. And if you are doing something funny, another person makes fun of you, and both have right to do it. Okay.
Okay, Anil, I think you've made a very valid point. Let me get an Aravind on this. Aravind, what Anil is really saying is that, nobody can learn a language just by reading a couple of signages either in the metro or on highways. At the end of the day, you're just being too touchy about this.
Or rather, I'd say at the end of the day, maybe the non-Tamilians, or rather the people who don't represent Hindi, are being a bit insensitive towards our actual problem here. What we are trying to say is that it's not one way of imposing Hindi that we are accusing or we are complaining about. It's not the saying that there's a law that's passed that's imposing Hindi on us. It's the small things across different parts in life that is affecting us about Hindi. For example, we have our national paper Hindu, or Times when you take any paper of ours, the front page of that paper would have just Hindi ads in Chennai. It'll have the entire text would be in Hindi. Now, how does any of that make sense? These are indirect ways of, at an attitudinal level, trying to just slowly but surely getting more and more Hindi out there, which is not something I think, which is not sensitive towards the people of that region.
Okay.
There's no reason for you to assume that we all understand Hindi. It's absolutely not fair on the state of Tamil Nadu. 95% of Tamil Nadu will not get Hindi.
Okay. Let's get it. Pradeep from Punjab. Sir, welcome to the show. Okay, we'll try and get that line again if we can. But at this point, let me also just quickly go across to Ram Subramaniam for the point that was made by another caller, that at the end of the day, nobody can learn a language just by reading a couple of signages. So maybe people are just overreacting.
No, people are not overreacting. I think people are extremely sharp in Tamil Nadu to understand. I don't know the gentleman who was just speaking, but he's extremely right when he says that these are all simple, small steps which go into eroding a culture and a language. So it starts off with a milestone, then it will become getting into the cinemas. It will become you'll start like step by step. It will increase and it will become a gigantic problem. So people understand this, which is why they're reacting so early on. So that it's a, let's put it this way, it's just prevention before cure is necessary.
Okay. With that, we've completely run out of time on this show. Aravind, Ram Subramaniam, Rajiv, Rajaram, thanks so much for joining on the broadcast. This is an issue that's very emotive. That's something that's very close to a lot of people's heart. Language, of course, is part of an identity of a people, which is why there is a certain amount of resistance that's being talked about as far as Hindi signages is concerned. But there's a flip side to it as well. Can a language really be learned just by putting up a few billboards or signages? The jury is out on that one, but keep it with NewsX as news and updates will continue. As of now, it's a wrap on this edition of Spotlight with me, Gauri Dwivedi. Thanks for watching.